What's up, everyone, and welcome into another edition of Locked On NBA, breaking down the latest news and stories from around the association as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. My name is Tony East. I host Locked On Pacers on the network. You can listen to every Locked On podcast free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. Today, we're talking with Rylan Stiles from Locked On Thunder about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and his wonderful MVP-level start to the season. He's leading the league in two-pointers made per game. As a guard, how's he doing that? What's made him so effective? And how has it elevated the Thunder, who sneakily look very good this season, tied for a play-in spot right now in the Western Conference, despite having a mountain of draft picks. And Shai is the leader of all that, hitting a game winner against the Wizards last week. The Thunder look fantastic, and Rylan's going to break it all down for us today on Locked On NBA. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Tonight in the NBA, do you think Luka Doncic is going to score more or less than 26.5 points? Do you think LeBron's going to be a passing machine? Kevin Durant's going to be a rebounding guy? All that is what you can do on PrizePicks every single day. You pick 2 to 6 players, and if they will score more or less than their PrizePicks projections, and you can win up to 25 times your money on any entry. No competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available. That's what I love about PrizePicks. You can't get beat by somebody with more time than you. It's just you versus their numbers. They offer projections in any sport you want to watch: NBA, NFL, MLB, tons of other sports, college level. They've got it all. And you can make your picks in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy. It's safe. It's fast withdrawals, and it's operational over 30 states as well as Canada. Download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com, sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code LOCKEDON. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks will give you $100. You deposit $50, they'll give you $50. You get the idea. Don't forget, though, you got to use the promo code LOCKEDON to sign up for the instant deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks, daily fantasy made easy. We are now joined by Rylan Stiles from the Locked On Thunder podcast, the spunky and fun and kind of good Oklahoma City Thunder, who have the same record at 7-9 as last year's NBA champs, the Golden State Warriors. Great start for the Thunder, and of course the big thing to headline that is they might have the MVP on their team. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been unbelievable to start this season for the Thunder. The top 4 players in made 2-point shots this season in the NBA. Our front court player, Anthony Davis, front court player, Giannis Antetokounmpo, front court player, Joel Embiid, who are all hovering between 9.5 and 10. And at 10.2, first in the league is Mr. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Rylan, what has gotten into Shai? What's made him so good this year? How has he elevated his game again, as he seemingly does every year?
He's just continuing to improve. I mean, he has not even hit his peak yet, and this might be his peak. He's not in his prime years yet. It's just he was leading the league in drives last year as well, and he's leading the league in drives again this year. The way that he finishes at the rim is impressive, and it's almost unheard of. I mean, a guard's not supposed to be able to finish this way at the rim, and when he can put that much pressure on the rim, what's helped him out a lot is he has a mid-range jump shot that's really good as well. So he's got the defenders on their heels because he's attacking the rim so hard and going downhill, and then he can just dribble pull up in the mid-range at the elbow, baseline jumpers, and you just really can't attack him. Like there's no way to defend him. And now that 3 ball's starting to fall more in these last couple of games, which has helped him a lot. But he really doesn't even utilize that 3 a whole lot. It's really just mid-range and at the rim, and it's getting him to 30 points a night, and he's just fantastic. But I think that the big thing is the way that he can finish with both hands and use his body and length to get to the rim and finish there, because he's just phenomenal as an inside scorer. And you mentioned it there. I mean, he's scoring at a front court level, even though he's a guard.
It's unbelievable to go through the stats. The only guys ahead of him in scoring have gotten way more publicity than him, to me, and for obvious reasons. For some of them, it's Luka, Embiid, Curry, and Donovan Mitchell. But 31.1 points per game is crazy. It's even funnier when you look through the Thunder roster. First of all, Thunder, totally capable offense this year, 17th in offensive rating right now, with 4 double-digit scores. Like, Shai just is really carrying this team with his ability to go crazy. He had that game winner against the Wizards last season. And the big thing, you mentioned a few of them just now, is that he's gotten better. But specifically, where have you seen him kind of evolve and take a step forward as he enters his age 24 season?
I think that it's been, of course, the mid-range jump shots come around, but I think that what's been most impressive is his defense. Like the defense has been the biggest improvement. He's been locked in on the end of the floor. He's getting 3 steals a night, a couple blocks a night. He gives so much effort on that end that it does lead to easier baskets on the other end, because it starts transition, obviously, with those steals, with those blocks. But he's had moments where he's locked down Franz Wagner, on defense, which is obviously a tough task for a guard. And the way that he plays on that end really inspires the rest of the team because this is your franchise guy. This is your number one guy. And so if he's going to give you that effort defensively, the rest of the team better do it as well. And offensively, on top of the scoring, he's been really good as a decision maker. He's trusted these teammates of his who are young, who are unproven, who are inconsistent because they're so young, and he still makes the right play, even though he has the right, so to say, to be selfish and to take over games late and to not pass. And if he were to do that, no one would call him a ball hog. No one would be mad at him for doing that, but he doesn't. He still makes the right decision. He still goes to the open man, even if it's Pokusevski in the corner. He's going to kick it to him, and Pokusevski's rewarded him in that corner, shooting over 40%. So like that trust from the coaching staff and from Shai, I think has helped these young players play better and kind of raise their level of play whenever you have that commitment from everyone involved.
Do you think he can maintain this for the whole season? How long do you think we'll be talking about SGA and the MVP conversation? First of all, that's going to be fun to say, just because of the three-letter acronyms. But he's firmly in the mix now. The NBA MVP ladder has him, I think, sixth as of us talking right now. It's Sunday, so it could be updated by tomorrow. But how long do you think he can stay in this form, if he even will dip off to you?
Yeah, I think that everything he's doing is very repeatable. So I think that he can. I think that he can keep this level up. I'm interested to see how the league reacts to him now that he's getting this national exposure. He's on every national podcast. He's on every article. Of course, he's in the scouting reports. And the Memphis Grizzlies did a good job of defending him on Friday. However, that is the end of a road trip where you've played Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I mean, that was a tough game in general, and he obviously looked gassed in that game as someone who has such a high usage rate. But 2 days off now, coming back at home on Monday against the Knicks. I want to see how he looks there. But I think that this is very sustainable because there's nothing that he's doing that's out of the ordinary. This is who he is. He led the league in drives the last couple of years. He's doing it again this year. He's always been a really good rim finisher. He's just taken a step forward in that area as he's gotten older now in this season. And everything he's doing is just, it's not like he's all of a sudden hitting 5 threes a game, which he's never done before. He's doing the same thing he's always done. It just looks better because he's better, because he's older, because he's more mature in the league. So I think he can sustain this a lot. I really do.
Yeah, nothing stands out to me as well looking at his stats that I'm like, oh, that number is going to come down, or perhaps defensive adjustments will come. But he's a good enough passer, I think, around 6 assists right now that other Thunder players have stepped up. And speaking of other Thunder players, the Thunder currently 0 games back of the play-in right now, tied with a bunch of teams for that last spot. We'll see how the West shakes out because the Western Conference standings are insane, for lack of a better term, at the current moment. A bunch of teams with somewhere between 7 and 9 losses as we speak. With the Thunder, they've beaten the Clippers, they've beaten the Mavs, they beat the Raptors, they almost beat the Celtics, they just beat the Wizards. All these teams that look very good to start the season. Mark Daigneault's got the Thunder looking much more capable this year than in past seasons. To you, beyond Shai being one of the best 10 players in the league so far, what kind of guys or strategies have really helped that team elevate from their level from last season?
Honestly, it's been Mark. It's been the fact that the Thunder don't have a rotation. They don't have a starting lineup. They've already ran through 9, 10 starting lineups already this season, and we're only a month into the year. And he'll bench anybody. He'll bench Josh Giddey. He'll bench Poku. He'll bench whoever it needs to be. And I call it a Rubik's Cube. Every game he's just twisting that Rubik's Cube, trying to find the right combination to get the right guys out there. Because some nights it's Isaiah Joe going off, in Dallas, and some nights it's Pokusevski, and some nights it's Bazley, and some nights it's the rookie Jalen Williams. Either one of them, right? So I think that the Thunder being committed to not sitting on their hands and not just saying, well, these are our young guys, we gotta let them play through it, and trying to try out, at times 13 different guys in one half. Like he's done that before, played 13 guys in one half of basketball. Like trying out all these different combinations has been leading to success, because in years past, though, the Thunder were not deep enough to do that. Like in years past, your option was no longer there to rotate guys, right? So if you look at it last year, yeah, sure, there might be a game where Pokusevski was struggling, but who are you going to bench him for? Okay, you bench him, sure, because he's struggling. Then you put in a guy who's on, a 1-year deal like Isaiah Roby, who you don't really care about, you're not really invested in, and he doesn't impact your future. Well, this year, if Pokusevski struggles, which he has not done very often this year, he's been very good this year, but if he does struggle this year, you bench him, and now you're turning to Jalen Williams, who you just spent a lottery pick on, and you really want to see how he develops. And JRE, who you spent last year's high second-round pick on and trade up for him to get, and you really think that he can be a part of your future. So there's just more guys on this roster who are long-term projects for the Thunder and long-term investments investments that they want to see play, to where at some point somebody has to have a good night. Like that, all 13 of them can't have an off night. So being able to mix and match like that this year has been the biggest difference maker. And I think that guys just obviously growing, like Pokashevsky taking a leap this year, Lou Dort getting off of his cold streak in recent games has helped a lot, obviously. And Jalen Williams, that I've seen a clear, the J-Dub, as OKC calls him, he has been one of the best rookies I've seen in terms of making a winning impact right away. Like, he does everything the right way. The numbers are not going to be eye-popping. He has career high on Friday. Let's see how he moves forward with that. But he just is in the right spot at the right time and makes winning plays. And for a rookie, a month into his rookie season, that's pretty hard to do. And so I've been impressed by him a lot too.
I covered the Pacers when they had TJ Leaf, TJ Warren, and TJ McConnell, but we thankfully could call them by their last name to make covering them and asking questions about them easier. I have no idea how you guys in Oklahoma City are covering Jalen Williams and Jalen Williams, who are both draft picks in the exact same season. Last thing for me on the Thunder, and specifically Shai, I'm sure you hate this part of the Shai discussion, but every year everybody says the Thunder are doing this rebuild thing, and it might make sense to trade him at some point. He's only 24. That's never made sense to me, but now that he's off to this MVP level start, where do you stand on that? What I would call silly rumor at this time.
Yeah, I would call it silly to be nice. Look, he locked himself into a 5-year contract with OKC with no opt-outs. The Thunder have a mountain of draft capital. They have top 5, top 10 salary cap room in the offseason. They have this guy playing at MVP level. He said before the year, I know what I signed up for. He said last year at his exit interview, I've talked to Sam. He's told me about the plan. I'm excited about the plan. I can't tell you guys about the plan, but I know it, and I'm excited. So he, at every step of the way, publicly, he's told you, I'm ready to be in Oklahoma City. And I think that we don't give enough credit to, sure, it's a small market and everything. I get that. But there's only 30 of these spots available to be the face of an NBA team. Like, there's only 30 chances. And he's the face of an NBA team, a fashion icon who likes the spotlight, and he's getting it in OKC. And this team's going to add Chet Holmgren next year, plus a draft pick next year, plus, of course, like we mentioned, the salary cap ability, the trading ability to add more stars. Josh Giddey's going to get a year older. J-Dub's going to get better. Ousmane Dieng is another project lottery pick that they just had. So they're going to have 3 lottery picks from this year's draft class next year on their roster, plus have another draft pick in the 2023 draft, which is loaded, and have room to still grow from there. This is going to be a team that's going to be very exciting, and he gets to usher that in as the face of a franchise. I don't think that you even consider trading him at this point. I know he's played very well, but I think that the Thunder are very comfortable and happy with his progression, obviously, and they want to see that happen in Bricktown, not anywhere else, and not trade him at all. So I think it's kind of silly. I think that it's all kind of cooled off now in a recent week. There was one little athletic story about it a couple weeks ago, but that's quickly gone the way of the dodo bird, as it should. I think that Shai is the franchise guy for OKC.
Yeah, I think he should be as well. It doesn't make sense to me that a rebuilding team would consider trading away the 24-year-old who's actually good, but I don't cover the Thunder. You do, Rylan Stiles, and you can follow him over at Rylan_Stiles and at the Locked On Thunder podcast for more on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Rylan, thanks for talking.
Thanks for having me.